Assalamu alaikum everybody. This is Jawahar Alvi again, and I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about one of the series of reinforcement. And what I wanted to kind of identify over here is that I did a video that was on reinforcement where I had brought all these toys and I had showed you that how to make them reinforcing, and how you have to play with the toys to make them reinforcing for the child. Another part of that video is that we do preference assessments, right? So we do like stimulus preference assessment for a child to see that what are the things that the child likes, what are the things that the child will work for. And then after that, once a child does something, we give them that stimulus, and then we see that does the future frequency of the behavior of the child increase. And that's what defines reinforcement. Today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was choice making. And this is something that I got a chance to explore over the weekend because I'm working on a project for my PhD class. And the project I'm working on is basically about translational research. And what I wanted to tell you is that there's a lot of work that is happening in the lab, right? So there's a lot of work happening in the lab where we have animal labs that are there, and there are a lot of scientists that are doing like work over there with the animals. So we have like experiments that are being done with a lot of like with mice, with pigeons, and their behavior is being modified. But all the research that is being done in a lab setting, is that research ever translated into applied? That's what translational research is all about. So what happens is that there is so much research out there, there are so many journals out there, but in the actual field of application, when we are coming and working with children, how much time do actual professionals like BCBAs have to spend and translate that research into application settings? There are a lot of issues with that. One issue is that there are factors, there are environmental variables, and also you have to go back and research, right? So with that being said, I was researching and I came across something which is called as choice making. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about choice making. Choice making is something so simple and we overlook it. And I don't understand why we've overlooked choice for such a long time. And it's a natural part of our life. It's there phylogenetically inside us. Now, what is phylogenical? Phylogeny is that what we are born with. Anything that is there as a part of our nature, anything that is part of our genetic endowment, anything that genetically we have inside us or we are born with it, is our phylogeny. So for anybody, for us, for our partners, for our kids, typically developing, not typically developing, they all like choice making, right? So in our daily life, we forget that. And I think that is so important, right? So choice making is something that not a lot of people look into it on a daily basis. And secondly, it's something that I think is mixed up with reinforcement. So I wanted to take a minute and talk about choice making. What choice making means is that when you start a session with a child, you are giving them a choice to choose their reinforcer, right? So for example, you have done their preference assessment, you've done a stimulus preference assessment. After you've done their stimulus preference assessment, you come up with, okay, there are like 10 things that a child likes. After that, you have decided that there are 10 things that a child likes. Now, you're not just going to give the child one thing, right? So usually what we do is that we are having a session with a child and the child does one correct answer, and once they do the one correct answer, you give them something, right? So you give them one thing. You give them like you blow bubbles for them, or you give them a toy to play with. That's something that came in the stimulus preference assessment. But how many of us are actually giving them a choice of bubbles and a drum after they have done like an activity, right? Or before the activity, right? So I don't think we're doing that. So what choice making is that even though, yes, you have chosen the reinforcement for, like they have chosen their reinforcement in the stimulus preference assessment, you still have to give them a choice that these are your two reinforcers. So for example, this pen and this is your reinforcer, or this piece of gum is your reinforcer. Which one do you want? Like, which reinforcement do you want? So basically we are asking them to make a choice. Now what research has shown is that all the experiments that were carried under these conditions, whether it be in the lab or whether it be in the application setting, those kids or those subjects that were doing experiments under those conditions, under choice and no choice conditions, they made more progress in the choice condition. So I'm going to give you an example now. As a behavior analyst, I can use many different schedules of reinforcement, right? So I can have a kid sitting right in front of me, and I can give them a yellow lever and a red lever, and the yellow lever is going to be for a no choice condition and the red lever is going to be for a choice condition. And so once I'm doing a trial with them, they can go ahead and I give them the option of, pressing the yellow lever, which is the no choice condition, and they get their candy, right? And the red one and the red lever is their choice, right? So it's their choice making. What was seen was that under the conditions in which we allowed the child to press their choice condition, they performed better. So we need to give choices to our kids, right? And so this has been seen multiply across settings. There were multiple, there have been a lot of experimentation done. And in this experimentation, across multiple contexts, they have talked about choice making. So the literature is really, really rich on choice making. So I think that you guys should make it like a part of a routine to provide choices. So I'm going to give you an example. To better understand the behavior mechanisms associated with providing choice making opportunities, research has borrowed experimental preparations from more basic non-human studies, and they have applied it towards like humans. And in that, there have been situations in which there were scientists who have done experiments with, for example, there was an experiment that was done with preschool children, in which the children, they could earn candy selected by the experimenter and for pressing a lever. And in the second component, the children could earn candy, which they selected for pressing the same lever. The experimenters also arranged the switching lever in which presses would alternate between the experimenter selected candy condition and the child selected candy condition. Children allocated the majority of their time to the component in which they self-selected the candies. And so there is a lot of literature that you can go through, and there are a lot of studies that you can go through. But what multiple times has been shown in the literature is that although we look for the reinforcements of the child, we find the reinforcements of the child, we still have to, or we don't have to, but it's always good to give them choices. And once you give them those choices, they perform better. So always look into it. Give your kids choices. Give the individuals that you work with choices. Remember, as a human being, we have the right to choose. So let them choose their reinforcer and then see the effect of your instruction. You're going to have like brilliant results. So let them choose. Give them choices. And it's going to work really well. So I hope this made sense to you guys. I wish you all best of luck. Stay safe, stay healthy.